data for us to swallow today. Thank you for the interpretations of the 1.7, the 85.7, the slope, the extra variable, and then Suzanne, you gave me the 1.7 points per quiz. We're going to learn names one of these days. Good. All right, we can go back to this, I think, now. So anyway, that's listed. If you ever want to see that again, it's right here. Totally fine. Okay, let's get into projects. Let's get into the projects. So we understand quizzes at least enough to get us through till Wednesday, I think. You'll understand them more as the term goes on. The students inevitably tell me by the end of the term, it never made sense on the first day, but it made perfect sense by the last day, and we appreciate the fact that we gave the assessments we did in that way. Good, Mimi's nodding. Good. Love that. Love that. You've lived through this already. So, projects are like super quizzes, if you will. They're 25 points. And what they're on is, they're almost like their own individual chapters. And they're in flux, not this term. In this term, they are set in stone. Let's take a look at them, if you will. Let's take a look at them. Schedule page. So there's one in week 3. It's called formulas. It's a little bit of algebra. Algebra boot camp will help with them. Okay? What it is, this is one of those things that I find I see in my life constantly, being able to work with mathematical formulas. And I'm not talking about insane ones, like not ridiculous ones. This was one of my first, 1992 was the first time I made note. And I've made note of it constantly since, but I love starting with this story. My friend Darren and me washing dishes, used to wash dishes as a bartender when I was in college. And he was doing some engine work, and he had some formula that he had to solve for another variable on to make sure he didn't blow his engine up or something. I forget the context, honestly. But he couldn't solve that little equation right there for one of the other variables. And I thought, you know what? Even though this is going to be a data-driven class, even though it's a data-driven class, there's not a whole lot of algebra, there should still be a little bit of algebra. There should still be a little bit. This is not really teaching you anything as much as it's reviewing what you already know from Math 60 and Math 65. And if you scroll down, I've got lots and lots of examples. This is kind of a walkthrough on how to solve. We're going to learn some of this in class again starting on Wednesday. Okay? I tend to make my assessments be like I'm talking to you. I'm Italian, I can't do it with my hands on the paper, so I try to write out what I would say to you where I'm sitting next to you kind of working like I was with Darren. And I've essentially got as many potential applications as you might see fit. Body mass index, BMI is one of those things that keeps coming up in discussions. I like that one. Down here, I've got some other ones. So, what you've got, here are your points. I made a mention of that here. This is how you know the stuff you have to turn in for submission. It's marked with usually numbers and also points. So if you look at this, you'll see 1A. Solve this equation for y. Well, guess what? That's the answer right there. Now, why would I give you the answer to the problem right next to the problem? What do you think that means right there? Little W with parentheses around it.
Show you where.
Show me how you get the solution, exactly. I want to see how you get from there to there. You can't just, well, you might be able to do it in just one step, but your brain is doing something. I want to see what your brain is doing. Write it down for me, or type it down for me. Somehow show me how you got from there to there. Some of them I didn't give you an answer for, like this one. You'll see why there's no answer given when you do this one. It's very, very direct and very, very straightforward. So this is your job. Show me how to get to these answers from these equations. I like you having the answers because I like you to have the answer, so you can see what you're shooting for, see what target you're shooting for. Down here, you'll see some applications. This is body surface area, which is also sometimes used with body mass index. Any nursing students in here? Any nursing students? None. Okay, well, you'll learn a fun secondary health measure right here. Okay? No answers given here. No answers given here. That's because by the time you get to the first bunch, you're ready for this bunch right here. Hey, if you're unsure about your answer, what should you do?
Google.
Say that again.
Google.
Go for it. Google it. That's if you're more concerned. I think, Megan, if you're doing a computation correctly, absolutely love that answer. Suppose you're pretty sure of your computation, but you're not sure of the actual number you got. Who can you ask? I know you're not used to this. Each other. Yeah, each other. Talk to each other. Work together. Trade emails today. Make a study group, right? You can do this electronically. You can totally email stuff back and forth electronically with me, with each other. It works great. It does work really, really, really well. Especially if you take cell phone pictures and then email them directly. I can see, as long as I can see it, make sure I can see what you've written. Yeah? Good? That's your first project. There are 3 more of them, just to back out. I think week 6 is the next one, and that's called dimensional analysis. Dimensional analysis, another great project. This one started with the talk of how fast we could climb one of the pyramids of Giza if we were allowed to rock climb the pyramids of Giza. And that began into a discussion about how big the blocks are that made up the pyramids of Giza. And I suddenly realized, wow, I'm sitting around with my friends, hanging out around a campfire, talking about this stuff. That can't be random. Maybe it is, knowing me, maybe it is. But again, this topic was born out of life experience. Week 8 is another one. I believe this one is learning how to count. Yep, again, another great little life experience one. And then last but not least, getting more into Excel with graphing. Please, Sumi, go for it.
So since when you